Hello everybody, this is Bonnie here. Welcome back to another video. Today, after a couple months, we're doing another movie review. Today, of course, I have to do this. I mean, my channel is based around kind of the series. We're reviewing the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which has been anticipated for about 9 to 8 years now. I mean, it was first rumored back in 2015, so that's around 8 years. It's crazy. It's been a long time, and it's finally out. It came out around 2 days ago at the time we're recording this, so pretty early. I'm gonna try and get it out today. Today is Sunday, the 29th. There will be spoilers in some parts of this video. I will put a warning when I'm talking about a spoiled part of it, okay? Anyways, let's get started. My initial thought, I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed it. I thought the movie was solid. I mean, obviously not the best. It had some issues, in my opinion. But besides that, I thought it was actually pretty good, and I enjoyed it. It's a movie for the fans, and that was one complaint that I saw a lot of people saying, that if you're not a fan of FNAF or anything like that, the movie will suck for you because you don't understand it, because the fans go crazy for this movie, trust me. I can understand that, and I know that's definitely a negative, but in my opinion, as a fan, as a big fan, it should be directed at the people that love the series, okay? The positives, I would say that the actors, all of them, did very, very good. There were some scenes where it was like, okay, but I think the two people who stole the show were definitely Josh Hutcherson as, you know, Mike.
I will work and you will sleep.
Where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
And then, spoiler alert, Matthew Lillard as William Afton.
I was calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. The security guard.
Those two sold it. They were fantastic in this movie. Story was pretty good. See, the story, it follows, where Mike, has a little sister, and then years ago, this is spoilers, because we're talking about the plot. Many years ago, he had a younger brother that got kidnapped by someone, which is William Afton, and he doesn't want that happening. He doesn't want something happening to his, sister he has right now, the one that's still alive. He gets a job at Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria as a night guard, but pretty sure the place is abandoned, and the reason why it's hasn't gotten rid of.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
So one plot point I want to point out is the animatronics obviously in the games are seen as, bad. You got to avoid them, right? You got to prevent them from getting to your office. But in this movie, they're kind of good in a way, but not really. They see Mike's little sister's around maybe 8 or 7, and they don't try to attack her for the beginning, the first the 2 halves of the movie, until Afton starts messing with them. Then they start trying to kill her. Obviously. Then they look at Mike at first in the first 2 halves and don't like him at first, but his sister's able to convince them that he's not bad. And then you got this part in the movie where they're having fun building forts and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's new. The other thing, there was a lot of references in this movie. I mean, and anytime there was a reference, or anytime there was a big part that had to do with the series, the entire theater I was with erupted in applause and cheers. So, for example, one instance is there's this little ice cream shop called Sparky's, I think, and the waiter is Matt Pat. And once you see his face, my entire theater yelled in excitement, including me. But the biggest moment that everybody yelled is, this isn't really spoiling because it's in the trailers, the cab scene.
Where to? Why do I always get the weirdos?
Where the driver is Corey. Are you ready for? Again, the entire theater, the loudest ever, yelled super loud, and I was all for it. I was so happy. It was the best theater experience I've ever had. And yes, it's not like people were talking the entire time, but whenever a big thing happened, yeah, something like that, one dude yelled out, was that the bite of 87, which got some laughs. The references were great, and I even like how in the ending, where they take care of William, they kill him. they do a FNAF 3 reference where they turn the animatronics on him because they show a drawing of him killing the kids, and the animatronics turn on him and they kill him. Where the cupcake, which is actually probably the most violent in this movie, surprisingly, bites into his suit because he's wearing the springlock suit, and it causes the spring locks to activate. And then he goes to put on the mask because he has the mask off at this part, and this part's kind of stupid. Why would he put the mask back on? But then he says the big line that makes the theater go crazy. He says, "I always come back," puts the mask on, boom, and the entire theater went crazy. And obviously he's probably not dead because in the end of the movie, like, it shows him like coming back to life. But that was a nice touch, how the animatronics aren't really evil in this movie. They're just like kind of anti-bad. The only time where they're really evil is when like 4 people during the day sneak in, like break into the place to, I guess, frame Mike. Because his aunt or something, his aunt, or yeah, I think it was his aunt or something like that. Yeah, she's trying to get custody of Abby, his younger sister, and she's pulling a scheme to get him a bad reputation so court won't so they try to mess up the place so that they can frame Mike and make him be a liability. Well, she doesn't go, but she sends 4 cronies in, and they get murked. One dude gets his face eaten off by a cupcake. This movie's not like blood and gore, but it's grisly in imagination. It plays with your mind. And it's a PG-13 movie. It's like perfect testing the water for horror, and I think that's perfect because FNAF has never been. Yes, the story itself is grisly, but it's never been bloody and violent. So even in the scarier games, it's never been violent. So this was perfect. And dude gets his face eaten off. One dude runs in, hides in a closet where I pop out. Bonnie comes in, and you don't see him getting killed, but you hear the guy getting mauled to death by Bonnie. I forgot to mention Freddy splitting somebody in half with his mouth. Now we're going to talk about the negatives that I had with the movie, and some of these aren't huge, some of these are small. I don't mind the dream sequence stuff, this is a new plot point. This is new. Mike goes to sleep every night, and he has a recap of what happened to his younger brother, the kid who got kidnapped years ago. But he's having these dreams on purpose. He's lucid dreaming to try and see who got him, so try and get revenge. But when he's sleeping at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the kids who got killed by William appear in his dream and are giving him clues.
Some kids went missing.
What is this?
But they're kind of not helping him either. They're like saying that they give him something that he could possibly want, which is where they make it to where now, instead of dreaming of his brother constantly getting kidnapped, he'll dream of it never happening and his brother being fine. And Mike refuses that because, they say that, well, you have this, but we'll take Abby instead, but you can dream of your younger brother, and which his name is Garrett, and Mike does not accept that. He wants, Abby, who's still alive. The dream sequence is not a really bad story, but it gets repetitive. They do this thing where it repeats itself a lot of times to add a little bit of detail. One point where you see it the first time you see him get kidnapped, not bad. Happens again, they replay kind of the same scene, but the kids appear, and he chases the kid who was stuffed into Freddy until he trips on a rock. Then, the next dream, he's chasing the one who got stuffed into Foxy, and it's just the same stuff, but he chases a different kid. It's a little repetitive, in my opinion, and a little weird, but not a huge negative. But I do like this thing in the dream sequences where if he gets injured in the dream, it applies to real life, because he gets slashed in that second dream where he's chasing the kid that, the Foxy kid, and the Foxy kid has this little hook, and the kid slashes his arm, and when he wakes up, he's bleeding. And I think that was really cool. And then later on, he gets just brutalized in the dream by all these kids. They're slashing him and stuff. And then when he wakes up, he's limping. He can barely walk because that's actually happening. And I thought that was cool. But then we also got another character, Vanessa, which I think is a reference to Vanessa from Security Breach. We all know my opinions about that game. Thankfully, it's just a reference, I think. Or maybe it's just, you know, clever.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
She's an officer who stays over because she is actually, big spoiler, William Afton's daughter, which is never in the games. It's Elizabeth was his daughter, but it's a new timeline, supposedly. So, Vanessa's like kind of there to give him Mike history and help him out, but there's like times where she doesn't really do that, and she was okay. I mean, like, I didn't really like her too much though. Like the actor did fine, but I just didn't like the script that had to do with her. She sees how he's injured and she never tells him anything important about the place until it's too late. I think that was just stupid. She should have told him sooner. I know it's like plot convenience. She says something like, because I forgot exactly why, but maybe it was something big. Quote me on that in the comments. Either way, that was a little bit of a nitpick. I think her being William's daughter isn't bad, but it's kind of like, you know, a little goofy. One goofy little thing is in the beginning, where at first before Mike gets the job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria as a night guard, he's a day shift security guard at some like mall. I guess some people said this was stupid. I think this actually wasn't that stupid, because he sees this kid all alone, and the kid's dad grabs him and is like, I guess like the kid's misbehaving and doesn't want to leave, so he grabs him and, you know, starts walking with him. Mike thinks he's getting kidnapped, and Mike tackles the dad into a fountain and starts just throwing hands, just basically beat downing him. The fight of 87. He later finds out it's the kid's dad and he gets in trouble for it. He doesn't go to jail, which is a little weird, but he does get in trouble for it. He gets fired, I'm pretty sure. But I feel like the reason why I did it is because of PTSD, and I can kind of understand that. I think him not going to jail is stupid, but, you know, they can't take him out of the movie. But yeah, I think it's because of PTSD, because what happened to his younger brother. He thought it was happening to some other kid. He doesn't want it to happen, you know what I mean? And then I love the scene where he first gets hired at FNAF, the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and William Afton, at the time he didn't know it was William, quotes the phone calls, and it was just perfect how he says, "See you on the flip side," saying that you'll be fine, saying that, you know, it's a magical place for kids and it's so, just the little fan service is just amazing. And one thing I was worried about is the animatronics themselves, their appearance. I think they did great. They nailed the animatronics. I was scared that they were going to look ugly, because we've had issues with that in other movies, Chucky, other things. This was actually really good. I think that they did amazing. Springtrap, well, technically it's not Springtrap, it's William in the Spring Bonnie suit, so pre-Springtrap. Looks a little goofy, but it's supposed to, I think. It's not something distracting. You see it for the first time, you'll notice it's a little goofy, but you can ignore it. And obviously, speaking of William, Matthew Lillard, his acting, I already quoted on that at the beginning, saying that Josh and Matthew did great. Matthew does the over-the-top intensity. I feel like there wasn't enough of him, but he did the over-the-top intensity like he did in Scream, stuff like that. He just cranks it to 11, being the villain, saying like, I made you, you look what you've become, stuff like that, and just insane, just portraying insanity. And I hope that he comes back, because there is apparently a sequel, and they said that apparently he signed like a contract for a 3-film FNAF thing, including this one. So hopefully we get 2 more sequels that aren't bad. That's one thing I'm worried about, because with Halloween 2018, phenomenal. Halloween Kills sucked. Halloween Ends, I don't know. I haven't seen it all like 2 years later, or no, 1 year later. Those are my thoughts on FNAF the movie. I had low expectations, I would say. Not because I hate FNAF, but because It was so long, and I worried that they were going to flop. They actually delivered very well, in my opinion. I think they did great. It is a movie for the fans. If you're not a fan of the series, if you're walking in blind, you won't get half the audience cheering, or you won't get some of the references. You won't get any of that. If you're a fan, I think it will deliver, because one thing I'm so glad they did is it focuses on the older games. Those are my thoughts. I would say a out of 10 rating. I would say around, I think 8 out of 10 is solid. There's some issues, but it's like it's pretty good. I would say 8 out of 10. I would enjoy this movie. I would say go watch it. I would definitely watch it again. But yeah, that's what I have to say about it. If you want to see more FNAF related videos, let me know. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.